right. Welcome to ASCP's RxPerience podcast. We are actually on site here at the Crown Plaza. Is that what it's called?
Crown Plaza, Indianapolis.
Downtown Indianapolis.
Famous radio show here was called Bob and Tom.
Bob and Tom.
So we're going to call it Chad and Tom.
Chad and Tom.
There we go.
Chad and Tom
we have
radio
Megan to
show.
thank for that.
Yep, first guest on the Chad and
Good
Tom
idea.
show.
This hotel's pretty cool because it was like a converted Union Station, right?
Yeah.
And we just walked through here. First time I've ever been here, and it is really, really unique hotel.
Yeah, it's cool. There are train cars that you can stay in. One thing that's odd though is your hotel rooms, none of them have a window. All the windows are in. So they have skylights
claustrophobic.
and windows,
Okay.
but there's no window that looks out just because of the construction of the building.
But you got the skyline?
Huh?
You have something about
I have a window that the skylight, it's like an embassy where
see.
you're in the atrium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might get a little claustrophobic and something like that, but
At least there's a window. It's not
Yeah.
the basement of the hospital pharmacy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's nice though.
Very unique, very cool. But the reason why we're here is because ASCAP's mid-year meeting here for the Midwest is here this weekend, and so we thought.
And the
we'll come on site.
WNBA All-Star Game.
Yes.
Also
Yes.
here this
Yeah,
weekend.
that's why we're really here.
So there's a
'cause
strong energy in the city.
Well, the Indiana Fever, or feverish. I mean, everyone's talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Caitlin Clark might be the most popular athlete in America today, which is really, really amazing.
I mean,
And-
she's transformed. She's going to transform the WNBA. I mean, she's changed it already.
Yeah, in a year.
So
You're right.
it's pretty amazing.
So this is the introduction of Megan Williams-Odell from Williams Brothers Pharmacy. And we need to find out right off the bat, before we get into the real details, are you now an Indiana Fever fan?
I am. I definitely am. Caitlin's done a lot of great things. She has a lot on her shoulders. She's carried herself with grace, and she's been fun to watch. She's been a good role model for a lot of people. And she's had a lot that she's had to come back from and work through, and it's really inspiring, I think, for a lot of different people.
Yeah, she is fun to watch. I mean, that's the number one thing.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
It's started in college, but man, she can shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From anywhere. I mean, that girl it looks like she's effortless too.
Yeah.
I mean, she don't look that large of a human being, and just pops this ball up from half court and dink, no big deal.
The big thing about her is she's helping others be better, right?
Yeah.
She's a team player. I mean, it's not just her on herself. She is feeding everybody else. She's helping them be better. She's helping increase their level of play and things that they haven't done. So I love that she's that type of person and that dynamic. It's really...
She broke the record, 19 assists.
Yes.
Wow.
WNBA record.
Wow.
She broke
Yes.
it. This is year 2.
Yep. Exactly.
You haven't even, this is halfway through her second year, so a year and a half into it. But
I mean, Paige is on her tail, but it's been fun to watch.
So it is cool to see all the WNBA signs up everywhere. They're all over downtown. I'm sure it's very exciting.
I mean, Indiana basketball. It's just what they do here.
Exactly.
Well, I actually grew up a Kentucky Wildcat fan.
Yeah.
Back because I grew up close to this area, and you had to pick. You're an Illini, a Hoosier, or a Kentucky, Wildcat fan. And I went Kentucky Wildcat, but had a lot of Hoosier friends. I have to admit, one of my favorite movies ever is Hoosiers. Yeah. So
Butler Fieldhouse is right here where they filmed it.
yeah.
Purdue wasn't even in your equation there, but hey,
No, it wasn't
it
even made the
wasn't in the
top three.
conversation, but now it is. So
Yeah,
Yes.
doing well. Being a Purdue graduate.
yes.
There you go.
There.
Yes.
So, but this is really about you. I appreciate you coming and spending some time with us. And, we want to talk about, you and your history, obviously the history of Williams Brothers. And, you're going to do a much better job telling everybody your origin story. But I do want to put on record that you are a 5th generation pharmacist.
It's amazing.
I am. I was going to punt it to you, see how much you could regurgitate out of the story, but yeah.
Well, tell us about your origin story, where it started from back in the day. If you want to go back to that 5th generation, like the 1850s or whatever.
I can get us there if you want to hear about it.
Would love to.
1890s, though.
1890s,
But
okay.
yeah. So for me, yes, I am a 5th generation pharmacist in our company. There are actually 5 of us that are 5th generation at Williams Brothers pharmacists. I have 2 other cousins that live not in Indiana who are pharmacists, so there are 7 of us total as 5th generation within our family. So
That's amazing.
some generational support has been nice. Usually you might get 1 or 2, but we kind of have a little pot of pharmacists. So I was actually born in Arizona, and I grew up in a small town on the Mexican border in Arizona, and I grew up in my grandfather's pharmacy on the border. So he was a third generation pharmacist. So I remember, I mean, a lot of my memories are working in that pharmacy, rolling flyers, stocking shelves, moving up to the cashier, and where you had to count change back, you know. You actually had to count the change back. The register didn't tell you what that was.
Which most kids can't do that now.
Right, right. And English and Spanish actually back then, but you had to know both. And the credit card swiper, I can still hear that click, you know, where you had to imprint it onto the carbon copy slips for the transactions. So
typing labels.
Typing labels, there was some of that too. It was so moved up into the pharmacy. I was a pharmacy technician and did that throughout high school. So I looked at my options, and I always wanted to go to Purdue. That's where my grandfather graduated from pharmacy school, so I was going to go there. But there was no way that I could have afforded out-of-state tuition.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you need to like censor the rest of this next comment because we're in Indiana.
No, do it.
But your IU fans aren't going to like me, but I used IU to get to Purdue.
Okay.
So I have family that lived in Bloomington. So I moved back to Bloomington, stayed there for a year, got my in-state residency, went to IU, and then applied to Purdue. And
awesome.
Graduated from Purdue Pharmacy School. And I don't know if you're familiar, but they have a publication after they graduate. They kind of put out an advertisement of where everybody went and what industry they ended up in. So there were, I have the whole data pile, right? There were 147 graduates. They sent those surveys out. They got 147 responses. So we have a whole pool here. And I was the one out of the 147 that went into long-term care.
Wow.
So
interesting.
Not unusual.
Yeah.
Right.
But cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Super cool.
So I was a consultant pharmacist, and I started off at Williams-Odell as a consultant back then. That was 16 years ago.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
And I love long-term care. I love what I do. I'm having fun. It's obviously challenging. I think you guys might agree that in long-term care, the one promise I can make everybody that I hire is that you'll never be bored in long-term care. Is that right? Guaranteed.
I mean, it always felt like a secret. I didn't stumble into it until I did a rotation with a Omnicare pharmacist in Ohio. I wouldn't even have known that it existed.
Yeah.
And for pharmacists, that especially, I'm sure we're very similar in when we went to pharmacy school, but you wanted to be a clinical pharmacist. You want to do the clinical stuff. This was the only place you could just walk in and start doing that. Like everywhere else, you had to do a residency, you had to work your way up. And it's still to some degree like that. And it's still some degree hidden.
Yes.
A little bit.
I would agree.
From pharmacy students. But
why did you pick specifically long-term care? Because Williams Brothers is very diverse.
They are.
They have several retail stores as well. Did you feel like that you wanted to again use the clinical side or not dispense? Is that what drove you to long-term care?
I really liked psych. I liked the individualized therapy, that there was an algorithm for the patient. You really needed to get to know the patient to figure out what was going on with them. So I liked that critical thinking, problem solving, making the patient at the center of the care, right? So I liked that a lot. So I stumbled into consultant pharmacy. I actually was considering residency. I was considering going back to Arizona to take a residency out there. And this position opened up, and I was like, let me try that. It seems clinical. There's obviously a lot of psych involved with that. And I've been here ever since, so I even had my soon-to-be husband talked into, we're moving back to Arizona. I was like, I like this. So, but as I said, so I love long-term care, and I love the patients we serve. I love the opportunity, the innovation, the challenge to it, right? There's always something, and obviously there's a lot going on right now. But I also love my family history, and I love that we have that legacy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, I mean, my great-grandfather back in 1890s, he was a pharmacist by apprenticeship.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
So that was the first C.C. Williams, my great-great-grandfather.
Wow.
So and he was actually mixing up like cocaine to, give to
Coke, yes. Back when Coke was Coke, right?
Yeah.
So, so he had a son, and his son, C.C. Williams II, my great-grandfather. 1916, so my great-great-grandfather was in Farmersburg. You know where that is? You're from Linton. It's close to Linton-ish.
Okay.
South of Terre Haute.
Okay.
So his son, C.C. Williams II, moved the operation to Washington, Indiana in 1916.
The metropolis of Washington.
The metropolis, and that's where we have our home base today, so planted there. He had two sons, so Joe and Bill. Those are the third generation. Bill is my grandfather, and Joe is C.C. and Mark's. They're the fourth generation. Their dad. So he actually, my grandfather, why did I grow up? I grew up in Arizona because he loved the Wild West. So he moved out to Arizona, started a pharmacy out there, actually moved out to the West and kind of made his way to Arizona. And Joe stayed in Indiana and Washington. He had 6 kids. Cece and Mark are 4th generation. He died in 1969. He was in his 30s.
Oh,
wow.
my.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Had 6 kids in his 30s and passed away.
Passed away.
Wow.
And so in 1988, Cece and Mark, the 4th generation, they had 1 retail store in Washington, 5 employees. And fast forward to today, we have 8 different divisions, 14, and actually we added a couple other locations, so probably 15 different cities that we're in, cities or towns. We have about 22 buildings now, and 530 employees across all those divisions.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
So it's a nice size family.
And you guys have
Yeah.
diversified, not just
Yes.
doing retail, not just doing long-term care, but doing DME, doing specialty, doing mail order. Am I missing something?
We do Safe Home Solutions is a division of ours where we help people age in place, and we help build out ramps and things and
that's
other
cool.
items for them
Yeah.
to age in place. And compounding. And then we have a
Okay.
sister company. It's a PBM.
That's awesome.
So kind of a nice,
Yeah.
it's diverse. And again, there are 5 of us currently working for Williams Brothers. 2 of us are on the board. So
Yeah.
myself and one of my cousins is on the board.
And that, some people might say, well, hey, you're grandparents or whatever, so of course, you get a high up position, but that
No.
wasn't the case for you. Like,
No.
you had to earn your keep. You had to work your way up and prove yourself, right?
I did. I really, really enjoyed, I could still be a consultant pharmacist today. I really enjoyed that part of it. At the time that I started consulting, I got all of the fray, right? So I had to drive to Elkhart and Vincent's. I got all of the leftovers, what the other consultants didn't want. So I was on the road a
I've
lot.
been to those places.
Yes, exactly. So it was a lot of fun. And so I was part-time in-house, part-time consultant.
Yeah.
So then, moved in, but I was, again, perfectly fine being a consultant pharmacist.
Yeah.
But then seeing that side, then the operational side, and putting those pieces, it really does make a difference in
Yeah.
how you operate and think of solutions and your customers. So I've enjoyed that.
Yeah. Now, I know you guys have different divisions, and you've really kind of tiered that off. So, like you are on the board, but you don't have direct say over another division, and vice versa.
Correct.
And so, being a family-ran organization, and how did that come to be? I mean, why did they have the wherewithal, the knowledge to say, hey, we're going to have expertise in these areas, and we're going to help and collaborate, but we still need to also kind of have our kingpins in these different sections.
Well, I think, again, diversification and growth and pivoting and not being afraid to take some risks is how they grew, right? I mean, they're not singular, and being open to the conversation, I think, is what they did. So I will say that, Mark was more retail, and then CC back in 1995 got his first nursing home. That's where the split started to happen, where Mark was more retail, CC was long-term care. They both still were working retail, but that's where that kind of originated, and they were doing DME at the time too. So I think just it naturally evolved, and you kind of need somebody who's an expert in each of those spaces, and so they kind of migrated toward that. But what I really love about the board is that we meet every Monday, and quite a few hours every Monday, but we have a lot.
You first thing you do is watch RxPerience, and then
Yes, and then
podcast.
Monday
exactly.
podcast.
No, we actually break and we all, get our popcorn together
right?
in the middle of the board meeting, and then
They will for this one.
reconvene. They might.
Hello, board.
So, but we all we challenge each other, and I think bringing, you bring things to the table from different, and it's nice to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that collaboration. And what I really love that Mark and Cece have made a big part of who we are is challenging each other and getting in there and figuring out what we need to do, and you're not hurting each other's feelings, you're challenging each other to get
Right.
better. And then you walk out
awesome.
and go to lunch together, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not personal, it's what's the best for Williams Brothers and the patients.
Yeah.
So,
And I've seen some organizations where, again, it's a pharmacist reporting to a pharmacist, reporting to a pharmacist, and they've got this tier of, hey, this is my title or whatever. And so you really can't get a lot of collaboration because it's, rankings or whatever. But
Yeah.
I love the idea that someone that's not running or in the long-term care division is really an outsider. They kind of know your business, but don't know the day-to-day, and they can innocently suggest something that maybe you didn't see, or vice versa, because sometimes we get that tunnel vision. We're doing our division, all of a sudden someone from the outside goes, did you look at that? I didn't even think about that.
Absolutely. And there's challenges to it, but then there's a lot that goes into that. I will say that when I first came on, there was still that challenge level at the board and the collaboration to us, but there was still a lot of silo. So I think us as the 5th generation, we've recognized that, and we've tried to intermix a little more, not just in the boardroom on business decisions, but intermix in patient groups and who we can help service in the communities that we have some of our other service offerings, and kind of come together as maybe a holistic approach to patient care, which is what a lot of people are trying to get at.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, your dad just recently retired.
He did.
And so he is truly trusting you and the board to, kind of take that next generation. Of course, it's inevitable.
Yep.
Has to happen. But how has that been on him, and how has that been on you?
It's been good for him. I mean, I'm glad he actually did. I didn't know if he actually would be able to fully retire. I keep telling him, hey, I have delivery driver spots open if you need a part-time job, right? In long-term care, always.
We'll still keep you busy.
And he lives in Bloomington, so hey, if I need someone, but it's been good. We've done a lot of camping. He went on an Alaskan cruise, which was on his bucket list.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens. Give him a couple months.
Yeah.
He did tell me he learned that he probably shouldn't be trusted to go to the store on his own. So we'll see how that evolves. But
yeah. I'm sure, being so busy and running such a good organization and building it up, he's going to want to get his hands on something.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Maybe give him some kind of Lego set or something that's going to be really difficult that he has to focus on.
Well, we have a mentorship program between, some of our managers, and he actually is mentoring one of our high-level managers, not to the person that he brought on to replace him, but somebody else. So he actually stopped in the office the other day came there to do that. So he's still involved there, and he's still going to be a resource, just like Cece and Mark have been as they've been kind of stepping out. It's really nice to not just have the tie cut, you have that. And he was really, really involved, which is something we don't do as well, I don't think, on the long-term care space, but he was really involved politically on the HME side.
Oh, okay.
They went through a competitive bid and all of that, and we survived that. That was different for them.
Yeah.
And I think by diversifying and us having all these pillars, that has allowed us to stay independent and to weather storms and challenges.
Yeah.
Like competitive bid was a huge thing, and DME, our other divisions kind of held that up for a while, and now it's come back and it's one of our most profitable divisions, but we had to weather that storm. So that diversification really has allowed us to, I think, sustain what we want to do as a family organization.
That's awesome. Now, are all 530, is this all in Indiana, or do you span some states?
So our specialty and mail order division is nationwide.
Okay.
So we do have some remote employees that function for that. Most of them are in Indiana.
Okay.
We do have a location in Illinois and Kentucky. There's an HME location in Kentucky, HME only, and then one in Olney, Illinois, retail store. But other than that, most of them are in Indiana.
That's cool.
So
that's really awesome.
And I know that some of your consulting is being outsourced, and a couple of them are to Chad's old company.
Yes.
That might be true.
It
So
is
once
true.
once Chad left, you thought, we can now start using.
No, we
this
actually,
consulting.
actually, he doesn't remember, but Cece and I actually talked to him.
No, I do remember. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah. So your old company's making it happen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And actually so my lead consultant, my head of clinical, she actually trained me as a consultant. Now I'm her boss, but she's awesome, and she's been with us ever since. I hired her brother, a little bit of other nepotism going on, but hired her brother in-house probably, I think, 10 or 11 years ago now. So he's still working for us in-house.
Well, I love the diversification. Again, if you're talking to any pharmacy out there that's a few thousand beds and they've got their focus on long-term care, and they see the impact that IRA is going to have, or at least they're aware of it. They just went through insulins and inhalers, and now they're sitting there thinking, I don't know how I'm going to survive if I'm not decent size, 8, 10, 12,000 beds, or if I'm not owned by a parent company, a nursing home company. I'm worried. You guys obviously made those decisions years ago. But what would you tell or recommend or encourage medium to small size long-term care pharmacies that are truly independent like you guys are, how to kind of survive and thrive? Like, what are the main 2 or 3 things they should be focused on?
It's just so hard because you also don't know their individual pain points, right? Everybody
Right.
has their own pieces of that pie. But I would say, I mean, we can't fix our margins for the most part, right? And we can't fix the price point. So you have to look at other options. So being efficient, we're always creative, right? Like that's what we do. We kind of duct tape and bungee cord things together in long-term care. And because there hasn't been a lot of things that are customized. They don't come out and say, this is for long-term care. We kind of adopt everything else, right? So by doing that, I think I've been working on a project where, they are focused on long-term care. And there are people in that organization that their knowledge and space, like I've not seen that as a partner. So I think find partners. I think being part of organizations like this, during COVID, the Warp Speed calls were huge. You now have calls going on for IRA. I think getting involved and, again, breaking down the silos, not being afraid to share information.
Right.
I think for a long time, people did not want to share information for fear of losing business or somebody else thriving. I think we need to continue to come together, especially as independents, with organizations, but other independents.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your thoughts?
First of all, I love the diversification. I think that allows Williams Brothers to look at every problem from a more open perspective. So when you think of IRA, I was going to ask that same question, but you stole it from me.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's okay, because it's, there's no fear over here in that question. Sometimes you'll ask somebody about IRA and they'll be like, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, I'm
Well, it's even worse. They go, what's RA?
It could be that too.
But, they're in trouble.
But there's obviously a methodical approach to, that doesn't make it any better what's coming, but it makes it, okay, even as you described the HME business, we're going to figure this out. We're going to buckle down, work through it, figure it out. Maybe it becomes a strength later. So
learn from ASCP and
I don't know if we can teach anybody what to do yet, but helping people together.
To bring together.
Exactly right.
I think the other part of the diversification, so I remember, we do a strategic planning meeting every year across our divisions. So we bring the board, we hole up for a couple days, and then we bring all our managers, usually to Indianapolis, and we come and do a whole day of this is our plan for the year and what's going on, do some team building. But during that process, we do a look at the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, like we do some strategic planning. And I remember, I don't know, maybe it was 7, 8 years ago, I said the word dashboard. I was like, we need a dashboard, right? We need data. And they all looked at me sideways. Because we have a different platform for DME, we have a different platform for retail, we have a different platform for long-term care, but you can extract data from all 3 of those to a central type of, and break it down so that you can have a look as a board across your division. So I think that was huge. A couple of years ago, we ended up hiring a data analyst position that we've now integrated into having data. So taking, brain dumping what I have and putting it into a data set that we can go through and look through. But having that part, not just the diversity, but the visibility has been huge, right? You're not just making a off-the-cuff decision based off of a feeling, which you need that too, right? Mark and Cece got there. But now in this world, we need to know what's real. And some of those things have really surfaced by looking at the data.
And so important as you grow and scale. It's one thing if you can talk to, they could talk to each other and give each other a call and what's going on and, look at their books, but you start adding more and more business lines and more and more customers and expanding to different states, then, data is going to be able to help you a lot.
And we've diversified now to not just for data and for our sectors of business, our divisions, but bringing in an outside perspective, even at a higher level. So bringing in non-pharmacists, operations people who have that background and working with them. So you asked about what you do, finding those efficiencies, finding things that you can do better, because I guarantee there's more to come. And it's not just the stuff they're talking about at the meeting. And that's why I said maybe knowing what is their pain point, or having somebody come in and look at your business and say, this is what I see from a different, that's been huge.
And you've seen a lot of people come into long-term care from outside worlds because they have that perspective, because they see sort of the diamond in the rough, and they're like, oh, if you could just tweak this, you could make this business work. I read an article last year about, we're all worried about pharmacies closing and pharmacy deserts, and certainly the pressure on reimbursement is a big part of that. But at the same time, the article kind of said, well, a lot of these pharmacies are people that are retiring, or they're just giving up. Like, it's not pharmacies that are doing what you do, diversifying, looking at the problem, trying to figure out how do we win in this new environment, which doesn't, again, I'm not giving a defense to, it's okay that these pharmacies have closed because of terrible reimbursement. We still have to fix that. But by the same token, there's a lot of pharmacies out there fighting and finding ways to survive, and that's important, particularly in our profession, where that's been the hallmark of who we've been since 1890.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So that's what pharmacists do. So it's refreshing, and it gives it a positive spin. We don't always have to be, the sky is falling, Amazon's going to take over the world, like all these things are going to ruin pharmacy, and that's the end.
Right.
You have these pharmacies out there fighting and moving forward, which is important.
I agree with that.
And we thank Williams Brothers for that. We thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Well,
so which one of your
independent-
kids is going to be required to be the sixth generation? Do they know? Are they
I don't know. I think
drawing
I might have scared them all with they think I work too much, which is true. But we'll see. We'll see what happens someday. But there's no requirement. I mean, I'll tell you, my dad did not become a pharmacist because his father said, "Don't do this. But he always wanted to. He said, "Do anything but this."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So once my grandpa passed away, my dad ran the business as a non-pharmacist on the border. That was really hard to get people to come down and being a non-pharmacist. A lot of these places have pharmacists running them, and they're staffing it. He couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So he regrets not becoming a pharmacist, but I have not told my kids they have to or that they cannot.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
I feel like I have one. I'm the same way, and I have one that started down the road of I want to be a pediatrician, and then it's maybe I'll be a nurse practitioner.
Sure.
I'm like, oh my God, you're me. You're going to say pharmacy. I know it's coming. It's coming. I'm not going to say anything, but I think it might be coming. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, mom and dad, so
I know, right?
it's kind of hard to get away from, but
It's hard.
But I think you guys have a unique opportunity, and you try to do this, but connecting those pharmacies, connecting other independents, connecting people, and listening to them with your relationships. Hey, I know somebody who's doing this. Maybe you should talk. Again, I think those lines of communication. And then looking at opportunities, like you guys have talked about before, we don't know what else we can do. I mean, provider status is, a light at the end of the tunnel potentially. There's some other things that we need to advocate and get there.
Yeah. And the reality of it is the U.S. population is gaining seniors at a rapid pace, and someone has to be able to take care of them and do it well because, geriatric needs are different than non-geriatric needs, and so there's got to be expertise in that area. And with the number of people coming on board, if we don't have people going into long-term care and focusing on long-term care, then I think American healthcare is going to suffer.
I agree.
Yeah, you're always worried that we're behind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to hear about the company that builds ramps and what was it called, Safe to Home?
Safe Home Solutions.
Safe Home Solutions, because you're ahead of it. Like we always look at things like, man, I don't think people realize. In less than 5 years, we have 20 million more people over the age of 65. And yes, they're all not going to be polypharmacy, multi-comorbidity, but some of them are probably in the same percentages they are today.
Yes.
Where are they going to go? Who's going to take care of them?
Right.
We don't have enough, seats in long-term care for all of those individuals. Not all of individuals can afford assisted living. So what happens to them if they don't have resources like that can retrofit their home so that it works? Maybe it's digital monitoring that also helps it work. And certainly you have to have a pharmacist in there or pharmacy in there somewhere because the meds are too
And they're
ubiquitous.
eventually going to get 80 and 85, and they're
Well,
really
sure.
going to
Yeah,
be
well,
here.
it's all pushing, but we have to be ready for that. So we're in a good place for business.
Yeah.
There will be business.
Right, but we got
The demand will
let's
be
critically
high.
think and let's put some pieces together. And I mean, my director of business development, he's all over this. He's like, why? We have all the pieces. As Williams, we have all these pieces. Let's make it work, right?
Yeah.
Which is true, but also not within this. We can do that if we can come together as different organizations that aren't a family-owned company together.
Yeah.
Even as a family, I don't have DME and retail locations in all the communities that I service. right?
Right.
But in the ones that I do, I am able to provide different services and oxygen, wheelchairs, that kind of, where we have retail stores.
Yeah.
Where can we find other collaboration? Where can we find other partnerships? I think partnerships and collaboration is.
But you guys doing mail order and having that long-term care experience and the DME experience, I mean, you basically are creating a long-term care at home, segment or pathway, if you will. I think you guys could press a button and really, really do that well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then again, not going too far down this alley, but the payer sources, and the payer sources not wanting to contract with other. That's a challenge, right?
Yep.
So how does this look? And we've already talked about PBM reform and what that looks like and how we get around that. I mean, if only we could cut out the middleman, we could do a lot with that extra cash. Like, what could we do with that?
No
So
doubt.
you want to get paid for your services?
I mean, what is that like? Wait.
I was somewhere and I was talking about a nonprofit. I'd started a nonprofit pharmacy in Cincinnati, and I was in a room and I was talking about it, and somebody was like, "We're all nonprofits." Like, you're right.
Yes.
It feels that way.
Community service.
Right.
Making your profits an option? I don't understand.
Yeah. So there's things we can and can't control, and everybody says that, right? But again, you guys have a good reach here.
Yeah.
I think that there's more opportunity here.
Well, I think this, and not to be political, but this new administration and their approach to chronic disease, what they're doing with the physician's fee schedule this year, has created a lot of, they're not specific. They don't say we're going to pay a physician to do X. They're like, we're going to pay for chronic care management, and it involves this. And that opens up opportunities for other disciplines to come in and say, well, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
One of them is around antipsychotics. And now thinking about expanding some of the oversight beyond the nursing home, and what does that look like? And it's very, ambiguous. So it's not saying you have to do GDRs or whatever in a homebound patient, but it's saying something has to happen there. Right. And so how can pharmacy take their collective experience doing that and enter that space, because there's probably going to be good payment, models in there for doing some of that work. But how do you collaborate? Because it'll probably be through some relationship with physicians, and do it. So there's, again, I'm a little bit always positive, but like, we're headed in a direction I think that's going to be good for pharmacy if we keep our eyes open.
And if we keep ourselves in the game.
Yeah.
There are people, trying to take, and they have. Pharmacogenomics isn't just pharmacists anymore. They've plugged all that into other things. Like, that should have been all ours, right?
Yeah.
That should have been all, and that's probably a piece to this that people aren't realizing. I've had a couple conversations with some payer sources, like, when are you going to start using that instead of my GDRs? Like, that should be able to supersede that, and I shouldn't have to try 3 different things before we get to what I know is going to work.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying about vaccine clinics. All of a sudden, long-term care pharmacies doing these vaccine clinics, and then COVID goes away. It's like, we need to keep doing vaccine clinics. We need to keep establishing ourselves as, that's something that we can definitely do and do well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is great. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I didn't know what to expect. After this guy's crazy story about his day yesterday.
I know, right? That's going to be another podcast.
Just another day.
We'll have to call that like a, how they do at the end of the show. They're like, go online and learn more about learn more about Tom's day yesterday. Go online.
If you see Tom today, ask him about his day yesterday.
Ask him about his day in Indiana.
Yeah. In the wild west of Indiana.
That's right. Backwoods.
That's cool.
Megan, this has been great. Thank you for doing this podcast, but thank you for leading here in Indiana, but really leading the nation, and what you guys are doing. And I know that you are the 5th generation, but it takes people like yourself to continue making pharmacy a primary and to continue that legacy that you guys have established. So thank you so much for doing that and for taking time with us today.
Well, thank you guys for getting us out there and continuing to push forward in our space. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right. Well, tune in next time to RxPerience.